There are days when all you want to do is close your eyes and turn away. Every corner of the house feels messy, everything needs attention, and you have no idea where to even start. Or worse, no energy to try. I get it. You're not lazy. You're just exhausted, overwhelmed, and your brain is juggling a dozen unfinished things at once. I've been there more than once. And after trying and failing many times, I realized on days like that, you don't need a perfect cleaning plan. You just need a gentle way in. Something simple enough to help you begin. In this video, I'll walk you through 12 tiny, low-energy ways to clear the mess, not perfectly, but just enough to help your space feel lighter. And your mind a little calmer. I've used these exact methods in my own home during times when I was juggling work kids' exhaustion and very little sleep, and they made a real difference. Because sometimes one small shift is all it takes to stop spiraling. And the first tip, it might sound odd, but it works, and it has nothing to do with cleaning supplies. Let's get into it. There are moments when I walk into a messy room, and the first thing I feel isn't the urge to clean, it's the weight of doing it alone. That quiet, isolating feeling is what makes me delay things for hours, sometimes even days. One small thing I've learned is, don't clean in silence. Play a voice that feels familiar, not necessarily something motivational. Just someone who makes you feel safe. It could be a YouTube channel, you trust a voice memo you once saved, or even a voicemail from a close friend. Hearing another human, even just through sound, can remind you that you're not doing this completely on your own. I actually have a short 3-minute voice recording I once made for myself on a day I finally cleaned the kitchen. I talked about how relieved I felt after finishing, and I ended with a little message. If you're tired next time, just start. This feeling is waiting on the other side. I play it whenever I feel like quitting halfway. You could start even simpler, just let this video play in the background. Let me be your voice companion today. When the loneliness feels smaller, the work feels lighter too. And if you want even more support in the next video, we're going to tackle something that can feel just as overwhelming: the bathroom. We'll take it step by step, turning it into a relaxing space you'll actually enjoy. Trust me, you'll want to see it, because if you think cleaning is hard, the real challenge is making that space feel like a personal retreat. Now let's move to the second tip, one that's often overlooked when we're too overwhelmed to begin. You don't always have to start with the messiest area. In fact, that tackle the big hotspot first mindset is exactly what can shut us down. The bigger the pile looks, the smaller we feel. On days when I barely have any energy, I do something very simple. I stand in the middle of the room, slowly turn around once, and let my eyes land on the spot that feels the least overwhelming. Maybe it's a chair with a couple of things tossed on it. Maybe it's a corner that would take 2 minutes to reset. Start there, not because it's important, but because it's doable. I remember one day I started with something almost ridiculous: the door handle. It was the only thing I felt capable of cleaning without thinking too hard. I wiped it down, and that tiny win was enough to tell my brain, okay, you did something. And once you've done one thing, even a tiny one, the second thing doesn't feel as far away. Don't pressure yourself to fix the whole kitchen right now. Let your eyes and your tired body choose the gentle starting point. And once you've chosen that first spot, there's a small principle that helps you avoid slipping back into paralysis, which brings us to the next tip. When I used to feel overwhelmed by the thought of cleaning everything, I would set a timer, but I made the mistake of using it as a way to push myself to start. The moment it beeped, I'd freeze. I just wasn't ready yet. What actually helped was flipping the purpose. I started setting timers not to begin, but to know when I could stop. Not as pressure, but as a boundary. It's like telling myself, you only have to do this for 10 minutes. After that, you're allowed to stop. This works especially well when it feels like the cleaning will never end. One task leads to another. One mess uncovers the next. The timer becomes your permission to say, that's enough for now, without guilt. I remember once I set it for just 7 minutes. I turned off the sound, started picking up water glasses around the house, and when the timer buzzed, I stopped even though I wasn't finished. But the strange thing was, after a short rest, I actually wanted to keep going. Not because I had to, but because I finally felt like I could. You don't need to launch into cleaning with intense momentum. You just need to know when it ends. And sometimes soft limits like that are exactly what help you move forward, especially on the days when the mess feels endless and you don't even know what to put away first. That's where the next tip comes in. There are days when I look at a mess and know for sure my brain cannot handle sorting right now. If I force myself to sit and think, where does this go? Do I even need it? Does it belong in this room? I'll quit halfway guaranteed. So, I let myself do something easier. I gather everything into one container and close it. A laundry basket, a plastic bin, a big tote bag, anything that can hold it all. I tape a note on it that says, "Deal with later." No deadline, just a gentle way to get it out of sight. To me, this isn't hiding junk or being lazy. It's reducing visual overload so I don't shut down. My eyes get a break, my mind gets a break, and the rest of the room becomes easier to handle. I remember one evening I tossed all the random papers, toys, and books from the dining table into a single bin and slid it under the couch. The table wasn't perfectly clean, but it was clear. And just that little shift was enough for me to sit down and eat without feeling irritated. On another day, I'll come back to that bin, but not today. And that's allowed. The next tip will help you use the space you've just cleared, because sometimes fixing just one spot can change how you feel about the whole room. If you're feeling like the house is out of control, choose one flat surface and make it completely clear. Just one, not the whole room. I usually pick the dining table, the kitchen counter, or the small side table by the couch. The reason is simple. Our eyes land on flat surfaces more often than we realize. Every time you pass by and see one clear space, your brain quietly registers, this spot is okay. And that's how the shift starts when you begin to believe the rest of the space can be okay too. There was a day when all I did was wipe down the dining table, push in the chairs neatly, and light a small candle. Everything else around the living room was still a mess, but something in me exhaled. That one tidy surface felt like a pocket of calm inside the chaos. It gave me a place to sit, breathe, and not feel like I was failing. If you only do one thing today, let it be this clear, the surface right in front of you. No decorations, no styling, just empty. Just enough to look at and think I still have control over this spot. And once you have that tiny pocket of order, the rest doesn't feel so far away. The next tip will help you move through your home without spending extra energy deciding what to do next. By now, if you've managed to clear even a small spot, it's a good time to keep that momentum. But instead of trying to tackle an entire room, just pick one single action and repeat it throughout the house. For example, gather all the water cups, or pick up trash. That's it. One loop, one purpose, no decisions to make along the way. I remember using this trick one weekend afternoon. My mind was scattered, but I still wanted to feel like I'd done something to help the house feel less chaotic. I chose just one task: collect all the random socks around the apartment. No sorting, no folding, just pick up. In less than 15 minutes, I'd walked through the whole place, and the floor already looked more clear. This kind of loop helps you escape the trap of half-finished here, not sure what to do there. It cuts the mental noise. Your brain only has to focus on one thing, and because it's simple, you're far more likely to finish instead of giving up halfway through. The next tip is for those days when you're too drained to organize anything but still need something clean and tactile to remind yourself you're still here and still in control. There are days when I know for sure my brain can't make decisions. I want to tidy, but the moment I think, should I keep this, toss it, move it, my head just fogs up. So on those days, I don't organize anything. I just wipe. Door handles, the fridge, light switches. Anything I touch, I wipe it down. I'm not worrying about what's inside drawers or fixing clutter. I'm just cleaning the surfaces I reach for every day as a small reminder. This space is still being cared for. One evening, my mind was spinning too much to clear my desk. But but I had just enough in me to wipe the little shelf where I set my teacup. The smooth, clean surface didn't fix everything, but it gave me one quiet moment of relief. It told me I haven't given up. If all you can manage today is to touch something, then just touch. And if you're already touching, you might as well wipe. The next tip is even gentler. No planning, no rearranging. Just a small way to take back space by clearing only what you put there. That's all. On days when the house feels overwhelmingly messy, it's so easy to slip into resentment. Why am I the only one cleaning? And honestly, that thought alone can make me stop before I even start. Not out of laziness, but out of exhaustion from always feeling like I'm the one holding it all together. In moments like that, I follow one simple rule. I only clean what I know I left out. The shirt I threw over the chair yesterday, the water glass I left by the sink, the bag I dropped on the floor and didn't put away. Just the things I know for sure were mine. When I do this, I stop feeling like a victim of the mess. Instead, I become someone simply taking responsibility for my part, and that's it. No overfunctioning, no quiet resentment, no trying to fix everything for everyone else. I remember one day I walked into a living room full of scattered toys. I didn't touch them. I just folded the blanket I'd used earlier and took my empty coffee mug to the kitchen. That was it. Then I sat down. The mess was still there, but I didn't feel tight or frustrated anymore, because I knew I took care of my part. And that was enough. The next tip will help you reclaim physical space, not by tidying or wiping, but simply by giving yourself a clear path to move through your home with less resistance. Sometimes the mess doesn't feel like a bunch of things to sort. It feels like tripping constantly. And when every step in your home feels like navigating an obstacle course, your mind says, I can't deal with this. So pick one walkway. It could be from the front door to the couch, from your bedroom to the bathroom, or the kitchen to the dining table. Focus just on that stretch push aside, or pick up anything that blocks your steps. You don't need to rearrange the whole room. Just make sure you can walk through without stepping over or around something. I did this on a night when I was completely wiped out. My path from the kitchen to the couch was hidden by shoes, bags, laundry. You name it. I spent maybe 5 minutes whisking those items off the floor and onto a shelf. Then I sat down. It didn't change the house, but when my feet touched the floor and my path was clear, it felt like relief. When your body can move without obstruction, your brain quietly thinks, okay, this place is manageable. And often that little physical shift is all you need to begin another small step. Next, I'll share a tip that uses your lighting and environment, something most of us ignore, but it has a big impact on how we feel about our space. When everything in your home feels like it's closing in on you, the issue often isn't just stuff, it's how your space feels. And lighting plays a huge role in that feel. Here's a small shift: open the curtains or blinds. Let natural light in. If it's too dark or late, turn on a lamp with a warm bulb, not bright overhead white. Change the light to feel lighter before you tackle anything else. I remember one evening I came home drained. The living room was dim, and the chaos around made me feel collapse-worthy. So instead of reaching for the cloth or basket, I just pulled the curtains and switched on a soft, warm lamp. Suddenly, the room didn't feel like it was closing in anymore. It felt like maybe it could breathe. When your environment shifts just a little, the light changes, shadows recede. Your brain hears that shift as something is possible here. It isn't about cleaning everything. It's about creating a space where you don't feel boxed in. Now we'll move to tip 11, which builds on this sense of movement and invites your body into the process in the simplest way. When your body is still in rest mode and your mind is scrolling through mess, change the signal. Changing what you wear, even if it's just swapping the top or tying your hair back, tells your brain, we're doing something now. It's less about fashion, more about shifting identity from observer to actor. One afternoon, I was still in my pajamas at 3 p.m. surrounded by laundry and toys. My mind felt stuck in loop of, I'll do it later. So I changed into a simple t-shirt I like and tied my hair up. No real plan to go out, no big wardrobe moment. Just a small change. And instantly, I felt a little more awake. I walked to the table and cleared off one stack. The mess didn't vanish, but I did a different version of myself for the afternoon. And that version moved. When you shift your outfit, you shift how you move. And when your body moves differently, your space starts to feel different too. Now let's move into the final tip. The one I want to leave you with because when you apply it, everything else falls into place a little easier. This is your final tip, the one I most want you to carry forward. At the end of all those small shifts, one thing I found really helps me feel like, yes, I made progress, is give yourself a clear, simple reward. It doesn't have to be big. It can be a cup of tea in your favorite mug, a 10-minute soak, or finally sitting down with an episode of a show you love, guilt-free, because you did something. One Sunday afternoon, I had done maybe 20 minutes of tidying, not perfect, but enough. The house didn't look like a magazine spread, but I was less stressed. So I told myself, after this, I'll pour a glass of sparkling water, and I'll pick up the book I've been avoiding. And I did it. That little reward told my brain I didn't just start and stop. I finished something and I matter. Why does this matter? Because too often we clean and then feel like we didn't earn anything. We expect perfection or nothing at all. But you've earned that reward, you took steps. And celebrating that helps you feel capable, not just overwhelmed. Earlier, we shifted, lighting, cleared walkways, did one loop wiped, one surface cleaned, what we could, changed outfit, etc. Now you finish with a reward, a soft, intentional finish line. And once you've rewarded yourself, you'll find your next start is a little easier. Because your brain remembers, that felt okay. So, we've gone through 12 simple ways I use every week to keep my home tidy gently, without pressure, and without needing everything to be perfect. What matters isn't cleaning everything all at once, but taking small steps every day to create a space that feels easier to breathe in. If you're feeling overwhelmed and want to save time on cleaning, try tackling just one thing at a time. Don't feel like everything needs to be done right now. Each little step will make a noticeable difference. And if you want more tips on decluttering specific areas of your home, I've got another video on that you can watch right after this one to apply even more helpful tricks. If you found this video useful, be sure to like, share, and subscribe because you deserve a living space that feels easier and more comfortable every day.
And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe because you deserve a living space that's easier to breathe in every day. And make sure to come back tomorrow. We'll be tackling the bathroom, turning it into the perfect space for relaxation. I promise you'll learn some new tricks that will save you time and energy and make your living space tidier than ever. Don't miss out because the next video will show you just how much more you're capable of than you think.